Afternoon, everybody. This is Sarah May Stubbins, professional network marketer, and I am joined again with the wonderful Chris Ogle from Link for Growth. Hello, Chris.
Hi Sarah, how you doing? Fresh back from
I'm,
your Vegas trip.
I know I am good. I am buzzing. I'm excited about everything right now. Life is good.
Fantastic.
Everything in Vegas is good. So I've brought it back with me. Unfortunately, I didn't bring the weather back with me. Um, so yeah, there's only so many things I can do.
Okay.
So today you've just got the two of us, and we're talking today all about personal development and what that actually means, and why in the network marketing industry you get so much of that, why you get so much growth as a person, because that's essentially what personal development is. So we just want to discuss a little bit about that and what personal development actually means, and why the network marketing industry is such a great platform to become essentially the best version of yourself. And that's really all that we are all striving to be. It's never about trying to be somebody else. It's just being the best version of you. And I truly believe that that network marketing is such a great platform for that, because it just teaches you a lot about who you are as a person, and what skills you already have, and how you can develop even more skills and become just a better version of you and really refine everything that you've got going on. So Chris, what have you got to say? Pass over to you.
Yeah, when we were discussing this this topic earlier, I think, without question, the whole population really is moving in a direction of, we had personal development as a came on the scene, I don't know, like 20 years ago probably, and there was a whole kind of industry built up around coaching and personal development. You could go to massive personal development, like on the stage, people like Anthony Robbins and stuff like that.
I think in the UK though, it was still relatively like frowned upon, wasn't it, until more recently. Like in America and everything, it was a big thing. But then the UK, as the UK are, us being very British, we're very much like, oh, this personal development thing, it's all very American. And I think it's changed massively over the last like 5 years or so.
Yeah, I guess it's accelerated. I mean, I went I went on a NLP workshop when I was in sales in 1985.
Wow.
Right now, okay, in that time people thought it was you're being hypnotized, or people were programming your brain, or all sorts of stigma attached to NLP in those days. But actually what they were teaching you were how to get on with someone, really, and although people in that day thought, well, if I don't like someone, I don't like them, and that's the end of it. I don't want to but I think what happened as a result of NLP was like, well, actually you can get along with people even though they might not be your cup of tea. There's no point in ostracizing them and making it. It's not being deceitful. It's about trying to make the best of a situation, really. And I think
people skills, really, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, there's this feeling in those days, and I mean, I think it's largely eradicated now. But in those days, it was like what you're teaching people is dishonesty. You're teaching people to behave in a programmed way rather than just be themselves. And I suspect there are people out there still today that think that teaching people behavioral skills and teaching them how to think and use this brain we've got on our shoulders is a bit manipulative. But actually, well, I don't think that. But anyway, there are people out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think hopefully today we can dispel some of that, because I'm the same. It's, we've got a brain to be used. That's what it's there for. And most of us don't use the capacity that we have within, our skull. So
Right.
essentially all those things are just utilizing that brain and being able to use it better. And NLP I think is fascinating, and it really is just teaching people skills, how to like you said, how to connect with people. And some people automatically know how to do that. They don't realize that they probably have those skills very naturally, whereas other people don't. So
yeah, and I think the if we talk about network marketing as a vehicle, it involves all different types of people. You've got, someone was talking about DISC the other day, like social profiling, where you sort of, what type of person are you, and I think that the wonderful thing about network marketing is that there's room for every type of individual. There's no, it's not like, oh, you're a salesperson, you're bound to do well in network marketing. You know, and other people go, oh no, I definitely couldn't do network marketing. You know, I'm not a salesperson. I think I'm basically too honest to be a salesperson.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. I'm no good at selling. I'm not a salesperson. I'm like, you don't have to be a salesperson to be good at network marketing. It's not about that. And like you just said, there is, and for me, it's again about that whole myth of what people think selling actually is. They need to understand what selling really is rather than what they think it is, because a lot of the time people have a misconception again about selling. But also some people go, oh, I'm not extroverted enough. I don't, I'm not very good at with people, all those different kind of hang-ups that they've got in themselves. Like you said, there is room for everyone in network marketing, 100%. There's not a certain type of person, I don't believe, that does network marketing. The only things that I think make someone successful are want, desire, and a willingness to learn and grow.
Yeah. So, I mean, this brings me on to my sort of first thing, really, which is most people have some kind of unhelpful belief system. And that belief system might be, I'm basically too honest to be a salesperson. So basically what they're saying is all salespeople are liars and trying to get people to buy something they don't want.
Yeah.
So beliefs are really important, and most people go through life with an unhelpful belief about themselves, which might have come from childhood, it might have come from somewhere, but they're all walking about saying things like, oh, I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
As if it's fixed and you can't change it when you can.
Absolutely. And like you say, most of those beliefs that people have are beliefs that have come from a past experience that isn't actually true. It may have come from someone saying, oh, you're no good at this, or you can't do that, or whatever it is. As a child, you get told certain things, and that's what's kind of imprinted in someone's mind, and then that's formed their belief system. So most people's beliefs are actually formed from someone else's beliefs. So how do you know that's even the truth? It's come from someone else who's got that from someone else who's got that from someone else. So why is that the truth?
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that's the first crucial point here, is that all we have in our heads is stuff that we've learned and picked up from what's happening around us. And in those early formative years, of course, that's our parents. And to us, parents are God. And what they tell us is almost like factual, because why wouldn't it be? They've got all this experience. So all of our belief systems are made up from either education, books, things we've done, personal experience, people close to us, friends, relatives, whatever, that we can't get it from anywhere else, because that's the senses we've got. Yeah. So, and very often those people that have given us that belief aren't qualified to do so.
Absolutely.
And we have to start questioning. And that's probably the first thing I think that network marketing does, is it starts to put doubt about those things that you've always believed to be true. It starts to put doubt on them, and then you can go and investigate, actually, is this true? And it's a fantastic environment to start saying, do you know what, that was a belief I had, I've just killed it off.
Yeah, 100%. And it's really interesting, because I think what it does is it makes you aware of those beliefs that you have, and like you said, start to question them. And I truly believe that one of the biggest things that people can learn is awareness, because once you're aware of what you're thinking and doing and saying, all those things, you can do something about it. And awareness of your own thought processes and your own limiting beliefs means you can then start to question them and start to change them. But so many people just go through life not being aware of what they're actually saying to themselves over and over. And I was very much the same. If I look back 7 years, and if I think about the things I used to tell myself all the time, like, oh, I'm rubbish at that, I can't do this, my timekeeping is this, all those things. And then it wasn't until I started to become aware of that voice in my head, and I was like, whoa, who is that voice, for a start? It's my little chimp called Babs. So Babs, you can kind of calm down. And it helped me then recorrect that thought process and think in a very different way. And that's why I love the industry, because again, it's so much bigger than just a business about money and stuff like that. It's about what we're talking about today, which is that personal development and how it actually helps people change their entire lives, because it helps them become aware of those thought processes and change them, and change those belief systems that we've had for however many years of our lives.
Absolutely right. And I mean, once you start to conquer some of these belief issues and you start to get some success, and success might just be somebody buys some product that you've been using and happy with, and they start to use it and they go, oh, it's really good, this product. That fact that you made that connection, you managed to introduce it, someone tried it and someone liked it, that is massive. It's not, and I think people in the network marketing industry don't even give the credit for that small thing which has just happened, because to some people that is awesome. It's almost like, for some people, getting out of bed in the morning is a big deal in that day because they've got depression or whatever. And in network marketing terms, somebody just introducing the product to someone and that person buying it and coming back and saying, do you know what, that product's awesome, I'm going to buy that again, that is massive.
Yeah, it is, because it's something that's probably out of their comfort zone, and that means they've had to stretch themselves to do it. And again, that's one of the beautiful things about the industry, is it helps people slowly start to stretch those boundaries, because we all live within our comfort zone. And the reality is life doesn't happen in your comfort zone. You have to get out of it if you ever really want to experience a fulfilling life. And so for me, I know that network marketing basically helped me smash so many parts of my comfort zone that I wouldn't have done without the industry. Absolutely no way. And it's really funny, because I used to be a dancer. People often think, oh yeah, but you were already confident and you were used to standing on stage and talking and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, that's again a belief system that you have. You think about me. Just because I was a dancer doesn't mean that I was confident and showy and, you know, an extrovert. I'm actually naturally an introvert, but I've just learned over time how to become more of an extrovert in the right sense and in the right way that's true to who I am. But yeah, I was never that kind of person. So it's like we all have to learn something, and standing up and talking in front of people, or, you know, talking on a TV show was never, you know, in my comfort zone. So it's like, it just helps you stretch those boundaries over time. And those boundaries are different for everyone. For some people, standing in front of a room of people and talking is within their comfort zone because they're naturally used to doing it. And for other people, that's like terrifying. That gives them night sweats. So everybody's comfort zone is so different. And I think that's, again, where the industry is so great, because it's so diverse and it helps you develop so many different skills that it will stretch everybody's comfort zone in some way, shape and form.
Yeah, I mean, when you mention that, like once you start to conquer and you start to get a bit of self-esteem, what happens as a natural transition from there is that you start to think, oh, perhaps I can do this after all, and then you try something else and you try something else, and then what happens is that, as you quite rightly said, you get the opportunity in network marketing, and not everybody gets the opportunity to do this, but you do have, and it's a fantastic opportunity to stand up and do some public speaking. Now, this is like, I don't know, it's in front of dying as the most feared thing on the planet, right? But let me tell you this, if you want to be noticed, if you want to have success, ultimately, you're going to have to stand up and say, here I am, this is what I stand for. And if you can't do that, you're going to forever remain in the shadow. So it's not a question of, do I have to or not? You just have to get up and talk.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
A public speaking, having the opportunity to do that in what is a very supportive and nurturing environment is even more difficult to find. And yet you can do that. You can do it at Link for Growth, but you can do it in network marketing as well.
Yeah, because everyone is on your side. That's the best thing about the industry, is everyone is there helping you and supporting you. No one is there going, oh, you know, because she's up there, then that means I don't get the chance to. Everyone wants you to be successful and is willing you on. And we've just come back from a huge conference in Vegas where there were 16,000 consultants, and, you know, everyone who was on that stage training and mentoring us, who were consultants as well with the company, you know, we were all there just wanting them to be the best that they could ever be. And we were learning so much from them as well. So I think what's great is it allows people to have their own uniqueness. It, like I said, it helps people become the best version of who they are. And that means there is no competition. There doesn't have to be competition, because the only competition is with you, is yourself. So whenever, you know, you're comparing yourself to someone else, it's just so irrelevant when you start to think about it, really. because they're not you, and they're never going to be you. You're completely different individuals. So it's just about becoming who you are meant to be, and trusting in who you are as a person. And also, I think the industry, what it allows people to do is flourish in every area of their life. So because of the skills and the person you become through the industry, that benefits everything else you do. So I know for me, when I was still professionally dancing and I'd been building my network marketing business for a good 6 months or so, I'd learned so much and I developed so much as a person that when I went back and I was auditioning, I was different. I walked into that room as a confident person, whereas before I was constantly panicking. I was worrying about what everyone else was doing, judging myself against them, going, oh, they're better than me, you know, I can't do what they can do, and just literally was like a wreck. And then when I walked into that audition room, I was so different, because I was like, do you know what? I'm just confident in who I am as a person. If I get this job, great. If I don't, my life's pretty good right now. I'm happy. And that's when I started to get jobs because I went in as a very different person than 6 months previously.
Absolutely right. And you know, that whole personal, you know, growth in terms of confidence is, it's like, it's a massive opportunity, and standing up and do it. I always say to people, if you stand up and you make a hash of it, what you will get is, you'll get every single person in that room on your side. But not only that, you'll give everyone and the people in that room the confidence that they could get up and do equally as bad as you did.
Yeah, because it's not about being perfect. It's so true. And the amount of times I've stood up and, well, spoken and just been like, what on earth has come out of my mouth? Or like stuttered over my words. And, you know, that's just part of being a human being. And we always say, you know, you can't get good, you can't get better and look good at the same time. You have to make mistakes, and it's the best environment to make mistakes in is the network marketing industry, because no matter what, people are still cheering you on and going, do you know what, you did a great job. And just because you've stood up there, that's given me the confidence to know that I can do what you've done too.
Yeah, absolutely right. So public speaking confidence, massive. I've written down another couple of things here. Attitude, and you briefly touched on it when you said you were going for those dancing roles after you'd been network marketing for a while. You just get a different attitude. First of all, you get a can do, not a can't do attitude. So that's the first thing. But you get that attitude, not arrogance, but that attitude that, well, actually, you know, I can't get everyone, and therefore I've got to get a few no's. I mean, for hell, I used to teach people in sales, and used to say to people, look, 9 out of 10 people are going to tell you to get lost. Every time you get a no, just say, whoa, I'm one closer to that yes. Just one closer to that yes. And it doesn't matter, because you've got to get a heap full of no's.
Yeah, and it's not a reflection on you as a person.
No.
It's just that the product or whatever it is you're offering isn't for that person, which is absolutely fine. And I think so many people get so stuck on those no's and the rejection. And rejection is one of the biggest things that people are scared of. And it's so funny, because that actual moment of rejection lasts a second, but it's the fear of rejection that lasts a lifetime. So what would you rather, that moment where someone may reject you and it's like over in a second, or the fear of it for the rest of your life? And rejection
or what might have happened as a result of getting a yes, and never knowing.
That's what I can't deal with. And that's why I knew, when I saw the network marketing industry, when I was introduced to it, I was like, I have to do this. No matter how scared I am, I have to do this. And I was petrified, because it was so out of my comfort zone and so different from anything I'd ever done. But I was like, I have to do this, because I couldn't live with myself looking back and going, if I was the one that said no and everyone around me has said yes and starts to become successful, I will be beating myself up for the rest of my life. Absolutely. So risk it for a biscuit.
And I mean, attitude is obviously one thing, and then you've got resilience. And I know when you were saying there, you know, like, and I said too, that, you know, no's are not a problem, and it's the fear of the no's. But, you know, if you take someone that's just starting out in network marketing, or any venture that they're going out and for the first time in their life, they're asking people to part with their cash for something that they're representing, which is a daunting thing to do for most people. And the first 5 or 6 people they go to are the people that they love dearly, and the people that they've got the most, if you like, they think the most of their thoughts, if you like. They're important, significant others, and every one of those people turns around and says, "You haven't got conned into one of these things, have you?" Oh no! And it's like the resilience right at the start that needs to be there is a real challenge. It gets easier as you go along, of course it does, but you do need some resilience.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think the more you go along in your journey, the more your belief builds. So for me, what was crucial, because I had that when I started, you know, some of my nearest and dearest told me that it was this and that and the other, and I'd never be successful, all those things. And it does make you start to question yourself and your choices. I was like, oh, is this real? I don't know. Have I been conned? I don't know. You know, all those thought processes went through my head because they're people that you trust. Absolutely. But when you start to build your belief, you know, the more you plug into things. So for me, reading, listening, going to the company events, things like that built my belief in the company and what I was doing. And the more I researched into the industry and realized that smart people were a part of the industry, and as much as I loved those people who were saying negative things, they weren't in the industry and they didn't understand it. It made me start to become more confident in my own choices as well. And again, I think that's what then develops you into a leader, because you start to become confident in who you are as a person, your own choices and your own thought patterns, rather than just always listening to what other people are saying to you or what their belief systems are.
Yeah, I mean, you've touched on two things there, which I want to just visit. One, I would have mentioned earlier, but actually, fortunately, I didn't, and and we've segued right into it. But having this is the important point of this. You talk to all your friends and family, and they've turned around and said you've lost it, right? What that requires you to do at that point in time is one very important thing, which is take responsibility, take personal responsibility for what you're doing. And I think this is one of the fundamental things, because at that point you have the chance to give your power away and say, okay, you're right. Or you have the chance to say, no, actually, I'm going to do this because I've spent my time researching it and I like the kind of people in it, etc., etc., etc. And that leads very, very quickly on to leadership. Because actually leadership is not about following the path, it's about creating the path. And every single, and we're going to get people on in a couple of weeks to talk about their journey, but every single journey is different, which is probably why people are fascinated to hear people's stories at these events, because every single person can relate to something that somebody says because it relates to them, but not the whole journey. But yeah, taking responsibility and leadership, fundamental skills that network marketing will teach you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's trusting in yourself, isn't it? It's that whole, like you said, trusting in yourself and your own decisions. And what's really funny is people are so quick to trust other people's judgments. And more often than not, that person that you're taking advice from isn't probably in a situation you want to be in your life. They're probably not in a financial position you want to be in. They probably don't run a business of their own. They may run a business, but they're not in the network marketing industry. So for me, I was like, well, who am I going to trust? People who don't know what the network marketing industry is, or people who are actually in it and being successful? So that's what I did. I looked at those people and went, well, if they've done it and they're willing to teach me, then I can do it. That's the key, really. And then that's when I started to build trust in myself as a person. And I think what's really exciting is, like you said, different people have completely different journeys, but everyone can relate to something that someone has been through. Or where they've started. And there are some people who join the network marketing industry who are very personally developed already. They've done a lot of that background work and they fly. They sometimes can just fly in the industry because those, you know, those hang-ups that most people have already been abolished. So when they start, they don't have that fear of rejection. They're solid in who they are as a person. They trust themselves, their own judgment, and then they start to develop those leadership skills. Whereas other people start in the industry and they're so brand new to personal development, like I was. I'd never really done any personal development at all. I remember having like one book when I was younger, and I don't even know how I came across it, but I had this book and I used to read it. But again, it was, you know, it wasn't enough. I wasn't immersing myself enough in personal development to really have a big impact in my life. And I think I developed things like resilience through dancing, because you hear no more than you hear yes, most definitely. Like when there's thousands of girls going for a job and there's one job going, and then what it actually comes down to is the color of your hair or whether you fit a costume. I developed a lot of resilience in that time, but I still had you know, those fears of rejection and things like that. And I think one of the biggest things is that people care so much about what other people think about them. And it wasn't until I actually started to let go of that and realized that, do you know what, I trust in who I am, I like myself, and if people like me or not is up to them. That's when things massively changed for me. And again, I think that's what network marketing is so much about, is helping people just be comfortable in who they are and realizing that, you know, we're all different and we're all unique, and not every single person is always going to like us or have the same opinion as us. That's just life. That's the whole point in being a human being.
What you've just described there, I had down here, which is internal locus of control.
There you go. We're like the same person.
Yeah, which is basically, you know, you have to decide for yourself, and other people will basically say things, and you can either blame them or you could take their views or whatever. But ultimately, if you're a person that's, yeah, like personally developed, and you have self-esteem and you have internal locus of control and you have confidence, then actually it doesn't matter what other people say. It's not important, because like I was saying, yeah, opinions are like belly buttons. Everyone's got one, but they're not much use to anybody. So actually everybody can say what they like, but they're not on your journey. And unless they're in a position of great authority with great experience, knowledge, etc., of what you're embarking on, then maybe their view is questionable, or maybe their view is more about what they would want you to be doing rather than for your own interest. And that's really an important one, because a lot of people, they love you and they want you to not be hurt. So what they're trying to do is stop you doing this change because you might get hurt. So really they're looking out for you. But unfortunately, it comes across as controlling and negative, and that's where the resilience comes from. But internal locus of control, do what you want to do, not what other people might want you to do.
Yeah, and do you know what, you said exactly what I was just going to say about those people who may have those opinions. They are just there because they, you know, they're saying their opinion because they do care about you most of the time. They're not saying it just to be nasty. They do actually care, and they want you to have the best life that you can. But it's, again, because it's in their comfort zone, and network marketing is probably out of their comfort zone, or they may have seen some bad, you know, articles or blogs or press or whatever it is about people not being successful, and then maybe you'll be one of those people that's not successful. Well, yeah, of course, but maybe you'll be one of those people who is successful, and the only difference in that is yourself, is what you're willing to put in and what you're willing to do. So the only deciding factor in whether you become a success or not is you. It's up to you to decide. And so it's like, you know, when people say, what are my chances of being successful, it's like, well, that's up to you. You decide how successful you want to be by what you're willing to do, and how much you're willing to grow as a person to become the best version of yourself to make this work.
Absolutely right. So I've got a couple of other things, and then we'll call it a wrap, and we can then invite people to participate on the next occasion. But there's a couple of things like people skills and networking. All right, and obviously with my link for growth experience, I've been around the block a bit on this area. But you know, people, when they first start out network marketing, very often they don't possess a lot of people skills, and they come across really strangely to other people, because they love, you know, you've got to just love them for their enthusiasm. They're mad about it. Everything gets turned towards what they're doing because they just want to tell everybody about it, and it's lovely to see the enthusiasm, but it can be quite wearing to be on the receiving end of it. But clearly, as people progress and they start to build up that level of self-esteem and self-assuredness, and I mean, I always tell people about yourself, Sarah, because I say, you know, I was on the receiving end, and you'll know Holly Mitchell. I was on the receiving end of her start at the very early stages of her time in Arbonne, and you know, it was lovely on one side, but you know, she's gone on, she's probably taken huge amounts of knocks and everything else as she's gone along. But actually now you wouldn't even know what she does really without pressing her for it, because actually you just need to develop people skills and find out who actually is the right kind of person to tell about this, because yeah, they'll tell you, won't they? They'll tell you if they need they need a new opportunity. They're fed up where they are. You know, they've got no time. They want more money, however much that is, £200 a month, £300. Doesn't matter how much it is, but through conversation and people skills, these people will open up to you and share with you. And you don't need to share things with people who aren't listening or don't need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's that, like you said, it's that thing when you first start in the industry, you've got this massive amount of enthusiasm, and you just, because you see the opportunity and you want everyone else to see it, you're like, oh, if I see it, then why, you know, why shouldn't everyone else? They deserve to see it. And that's so true. I do believe everyone deserves to see it. But at the same time, like you said, there is no point sharing it on deaf ears. It needs to be people who are open to looking. And the only way you find out that is by actually getting to know people. And I think the more, like you said, the more you develop as a person, the more you become so self-assured in who you are, that and your people skills develop, the more you can listen and hear what people are needing. And that's when you can introduce it in the right way. And I think sometimes that's why the industry sometimes gets a bit of a bad name, is because people, you know, see people just trying to push it onto everyone. And then you come across as a pushy person, a salesperson, all those things that people have those preconceived ideas about. But really all it is that person's enthusiasm to share it. But I think when people start to learn those skills, that's when everything changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, once you've got those people skills, of course, it's all about going out and talking to people. And of course, coming from Link for Growth background, which is all about everybody in the community being able to participate, of course, it opens up a huge network of people to go talk to. And it's not like you've got to go and talk to other business people. It's actually the real people that we need to speak to are, you know, in network marketing, is anybody in the community that wants to listen or is in a situation where they might want, this might benefit them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing that most people do when they start network marketing or they start networking is they immediately go to business networking groups, which are a great ground, you know, a great way to develop your skills with networking and things. But they're not always necessarily the right place for network marketing. They could be for the product, but not for the business side of things, because most people who go to a business networking group are so focused on their own business that they don't really open their eyes to anything else. Whereas, like you said, the community is where you're going to find people who are looking for things to change. They want community, they want support, they want that whole spirit, but they also may be in a job that they're not happy with. They may be a business owner and things aren't going the way they want. You just don't know who you're going to meet out and about in the community. And that's why I love Link for Growth, because it's so different from normal business networking. It's about community coming together. And that's exactly what, you know, network marketing is as well. It's about community and people coming together who are like-minded.
Absolutely. Now I'm gonna close this section off with my list. Is that I personally believe that probably the most important thing that network marketing enables for people is, what do you think it is, Sarah? What do you think it is?
There's too many things.
No, but I think this is the most important thing. I believe in network marketing, and this I've witnessed this through experience, right? Not through hearsay, but from personal experience. I believe network marketing has the potential to make people happy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And for me, that means happy because all things in their life are balanced, not just one bit. Money is not the reason for doing network marketing. Happiness is the reason for doing network marketing.
Yeah. And all those things actually just feed into happiness that come from it, because obviously a lot of the time, if you're stressed about money and paying your bills, you're not particularly happy. If you're stressed because you're at work 24/7, you're not particularly happy. If you're not seeing your family, you're not particularly happy. If you can't go on holiday, you know, so all those things coming into what you develop in the network marketing industry, that balance between work, between life, is happiness. And I believe that people thrive when they're around like-minded people. That's when real happiness comes. So for me, like, there is nothing better than getting together with other network marketers, because you're just on the same page. You just have that same outlook on life, that, like you said, that can-do attitude. And it's just like that excitement. So for me, coming back from Vegas, from this massive conference where it's just been, you know, 16,000 like-minded people who I could class every single one of them as my best friends because they're just like me. And it's so amazing to be in that environment. And I think everyone deserves to have a bit of that in their life.
Absolutely. So tell us, 9th of May, we want people to come and share with us what?
We want people to share their personal development journey. So people who are in the network marketing industry, if you've been on a really interesting journey, we would love to hear all about it. We want you to be able to share your journey with other people, to be able to inspire them as well, because I can guarantee by you sharing what you've been through and how you've developed yourself through this industry, you will inspire more people than you probably will ever know. And so yeah, we're really, really excited to welcome people on to just share their journey with us, from where they've come from, you know, any hardships they may have had, and how they've grown as a person through the industry, and also any, you know, hardships that they've had in the industry, anything that they've found a challenge, and how they've overcome it. Because it's not all rosy. There are things you have to learn. There are down days. You know, there are times I've laid on the floor and cried and stamped my fists, and, you know, all those things, because that's part of growing as a person. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't make you grow. So, you know, those things are all part of people's journey. And it's really funny because I look back now at some things that used to stress me out, you know, with regards to building my business probably 3 years ago. And now it's just like water off a duck's back. I'm like, that's fine, because I just continue to develop myself. So those little things that didn't seem little at the time just don't stress me out. And we'd love to hear your journeys with that and your stories, so we can just be inspired by you and help other people become inspired by it too.
Fabulous. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm done. I've done all I want to do. So
yeah, me too.
So next show, 9th of May. That's when we're back. Yeah.
9th of May, and we want to hear from you. So let us know, get in touch, and then we will be putting you in the hot seat, but with love. We won't be grilling you, just to help you share what you've experienced through your journey with everyone else, so you can inspire them too.
Okay.
Fab.
That's it. Okay. So good stuff. And yeah, good to share all that, and looking forward to hearing from everyone else.
Me too. See you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.